Sangye Cherdang Soki Chognam La Jantu Bardu Dagni Kyapsu Chi Dagi Chenyengi Pesonam Ki Rola Penche Sangye Drupar Shuk Sangye Cherdang Soki Chognam La Jantu Bardu Dagni Kyapsu Chi Dagi Chenyengi Pesonam Ki Drola Penche Sangye Drupar Shuk Sangye Cherdang Soki Chognam La Chantu Bardu Dagni Kyapsu Chi Kagi Chenyengi Pesonam Ki Drola Penche Sangye Drupar Shuk.
So let's just focus on our breath for a couple of minutes. So let's generate bodhicitta motivation for this morning's session. Think the purpose of my life is to lead all sentient beings from suffering to enlightenment. In order to do that, I have to reach enlightenment myself. That depends upon studying, thinking about, meditating on, realizing all the steps on the path to enlightenment, the lamrim. Therefore, I'm going to study the first lamrim text, Atisha's Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment, and some of our teachers' commentaries on it. So I'm doing this in order to reach enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. So like that, generate heartfelt bodhicitta. Okay, thank you. So, so last time we were talking about the seven limb practice, and we read Geshe Sonam Rinpoche's brief teachings on that. And now I'm just going to turn to what His Holiness has to say about it. So we're leading up to the ceremony, or the taking the Bodhisattva vow. So His Holiness says, in the 8th verse of A Lamp for the Path, Atisha recommends that the bodhicitta ceremony be preceded by the 7-limb puja. If you're participating in this ceremony in order to generate bodhicitta, don't simply listen to my explanation as a lecture, but fold your hands to your heart and pay attention with deep faith in the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Otherwise, you can just listen as normal. That's if you're not taking this Bodhisattva vow. So this was given in quite a large public gathering. So, we've already done the 7-limb practice this morning. It's part of the Lama Zopa Guru Yoga. I'll probably come back to that in a minute. Just going to spend a little time on this, but let's just go through what His Holiness says about the 7 limbs first. Homage. The first of the 7 limbs is the paying of homage. Reflect upon the qualities of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So when we study the teachings on refuge, like in Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand, there's very extensive treatment of the qualities of the 3 objects of refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Reflect upon their qualities, particularly the qualities of the Buddha's enlightened body, speech, and mind, such as his omniscient mind, his perfection of the altruistic aspiration, his bodhicitta, and his perfection of the wisdom realizing emptiness. Then cultivate the aspiration to gain the wisdom of the Buddha yourself, and with reverence born from deep admiration and respect for the qualities upon which you have reflected, pay homage to the Buddha. So in the preliminary prayer we also just did, the praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, there's quite a detailed reflection on his qualities. So that's fine as we say it as a prayer, but sometimes, when we have time for doing meditation, we could meditate on that prayer slowly, verse by verse, and really try to understand what each verse means. And, if we get understanding of that, or any of the prayers, a deeper understanding through studying them separately, then when we recite them, they'll have, a stronger effect on our mind, which is kind of the point. Offering. The second limb is that of making offerings. Imagine offering whatever you own, such as your body and resources, to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. You can also offer mentally everything else that exists in the universe. Most importantly, however, you should offer all your past virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind. You can imagine these positive activities in the form of various articles of offering, or you can reflect upon your entire collection of merit and, from the depths of your heart, offer it up to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So, they say that the highest offering we can make is that to our teacher, to our guru, is the offering of practice. So the result of practice is the accumulation of merit. And, that's why we dedicate it at the end, just to protect it and so that it remains there, that we can build on it, subsequently. So that's kind of proof of our practice. So by offering our merit to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that's, and always remembering that they are manifestations of our Guru's omniscient mind. By offering merit, we're actually offering our practice. Confessing, that's the third limb. The third limb is a practice of confession or purification. Reflect upon all the negativities you've ever created through body, speech, and mind, and how they are all causes for future suffering. Each and every one of us confronts both physical and psychological problems and difficulties. We're beset with sufferings without end, like ripples on a lake, one after the other. So, these sufferings and negative experiences we have, just like merit is a proof of our practice, these sufferings and so on are proof of our past negative actions. As you think about this, understand that suffering does not arise without reason. Every problem has its own cause, the root cause being your own negative actions of body, speech, and mind. Imagining that you're in the presence of the noble assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, fully disclose your negative actions, and cultivating a heartfelt sense of regret for them, commit yourself to purifying them. So as I always say, this is not, I've been so negative and sort of feeling guilty. That's kind of, that's your ego reacting. Rather, it should be sort of a dispassionate acknowledgement that, like everybody else, I've created these negative actions. I am going to suffer the results of these, therefore I should do something to try to prevent those results from arising. So purification practice is that. Rejoicing. Next is the limb of rejoicing. Reflect upon the wonderful enlightened qualities of the Buddhas, particularly those of the historical Buddha. We all know that Shakyamuni Buddha was not a fully enlightened being right from the start. Initially, he was just like us, an ordinary being struggling on the path with the natural weaknesses and limitations that we all have. What distinguishes the Buddha from us, however, is that he took the practice of bodhicitta to heart. He then embarked upon the path, and as a result of his efforts, eventually attained the fully enlightened state. So as you know, in this, initially he was just like us, isn't referring to his time as Siddhartha Gautama or the historical Buddha. It's going way back before that. From Mahayana point of view, he was already enlightened when he took birth as the child of the king and queen of I forget the name of the kingdom, that kingdom in northern India near Nepal, and now, but other tradition, the Theravada tradition, for example, will say that he wasn't fully enlightened. They take his birth and life and all he did quite fairly literally, and that he attained enlightenment for the first time in Bodh Gaya, where he manifested attaining enlightenment. So from the Mahayana point of view, he was already enlightened. Just as Maitreya Buddha, the next Buddha, who will appear after Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings have completely disappeared, he's already enlightened in Tushita, but he'll descend and go through the 12 deeds of the Buddha, like Shakyamuni Buddha did, taking birth in the royal family and renouncing the kingdom, and then doing the ascetic practices and sitting under the Bodhi tree and, pretending to get enlightened then, and sort of inside he's laughing, saying, "Oh, look at these idiots. They think I wasn't enlightened already. They think I just got enlightened, But actually he was enlightened all along, and his whole life itself is a teaching for us, that teaching renunciation and enthusiastic perseverance and patience and all these different perfections you can see if you look at how his life appeared to go. I don't know about the laughing inside, I just made that up, but you can imagine he might have been. He kind of knows what's going on. But in previous lives, he was just like us. And you can read the Jataka tales, the 550 previous life birth stories of Shakyamuni Buddha as a bodhisattva, all the different things he did, the different forms he took, and the different deeds he did in those previous lives. And that was already, he was a bodhisattva, 550 lives. So, and then before that, he was, more of an ordinary sentient being like us. So it's a long time ago. So when we think about that, then we think, oh God, I've got a really long way to go. I've got to go through 550 birth stories. Then I've got to go through the whole 12 deeds and all that. But, without that, there's no getting enlightened. So I think we have to accept that. Although, if we're fortunate enough to be able to practice Tantra, we can achieve enlightenment more quickly. The Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, reached enlightenment through the gradual bodhisattva path, taking 3 countless great eons. So, but he taught Tantra so that, the sort of smarter ones amongst us could reach enlightenment more quickly by practicing the Vajrayana. Therefore, in this practice of rejoicing, rejoice in the Buddha's enlightened qualities and the entire path to enlightenment. Then focus your attention on the bodhisattvas, on the last 3 of the 10 bodhisattva grounds. So there are 10 bhumis, 10 bodhisattva grounds. The last 3 are the pure grounds where bodhisattvas have fully realized emptiness. The last 3 of the 10 bodhisattva grounds, the bodhisattvas who've totally overcome their afflictive thoughts and emotions and are on the threshold of Buddhahood. Reflecting upon such beings, develop a deep sense of admiration for their realizations and other spiritual attainments. Then focus your attention on the bodhisattvas on the first 7 grounds, Although they've yet to overcome the power of their afflictions, they are still Arya bodhisattvas, bodhisattvas who have a realization of emptiness. Some teachers will say that Arya bodhisattvas are only those on the 3 last levels, the pure grounds, who've fully overcome their afflictions. But to get onto even the first level, you have to have some realization, if not complete, of emptiness. And then as your realization of emptiness deepens and your bodhicitta develops, then you gradually ascend these 10 levels to enlightenment. Reflecting upon their qualities, these bodhisattvas on the first 7 levels develop a deep sense of admiration for them. Next, shift your attention to the bodhisattvas on the first 2 of the 5 paths, the paths of accumulation and preparation. So there are the 5 paths: accumulation, preparation, path of seeing. That's where you realize emptiness, and then the bodhisattvas there get onto the first bodhisattva bhumi. Then the path of meditation, and then the path of no more learning. So those are the 5 paths, and they're both in the Mahayana and the Hinayana. So now we shift our attention to the bodhisattvas on the first 2 paths, path of accumulation and preparation. They're almost at the same level as us, particularly those on the first path. In a sense, the bodhisattvas right at the beginning of the path are even more amazing than those who are more advanced, because despite being under the control of the afflictions, such as attachment and hostility, they still have the courage to commit themselves to the ideals of bodhicitta. We should therefore feel delight, the delight that parents do when their child takes its first faltering steps or speaks its first few words. They don't criticize their child's clumsy gait or limited vocabulary, but instead are full of wonder. We can view bodhisattvas struggling at the beginning of the path in the same way, as amazing, awe-inspiring beings. Having developed a deep sense of admiration for all bodhisattvas, next rejoice at the achievements and qualities of the arhats, those who have gained complete freedom from samsara. Also feel a deep appreciation for the attainments and practitioners on the path, on the path to liberation. Finally, rejoice at all the virtue accumulated by your fellow sentient beings and reflect particularly upon your own collection of merit. The fact that you have received a human rebirth endowed with the opportunity to practice Dharma is clear evidence that you've created much merit in the past. Encountering the precious sacred teachings of the Buddha and having an interest in practicing them can only be consequences of past virtuous acts. You've also engaged in many positive altruistic activities in this life, so recalling all this virtue, dedicate it to the welfare of all sentient beings and rejoice in the opportunities you have had to create all this merit. So if we're doing 7 limb practice like Guru Puja or the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa or something in a retreat, in a group retreat with Lama Zopa Rinpoche, he will always make everybody stop. At the end, normally you chant all the verses, just keep going. He'll make everybody stop at the end of the rejoicing verse and actually rejoice gradually. And there are different ways of describing the different kinds of merit. So fairly extensively, like His Holiness just did, or can do it more briefly, like it says in the prayer, I rejoice in the merit of all noble and ordinary beings, or all Arya and ordinary beings. But Rinpoche will break it down and have everybody rejoice a little more slowly, because rejoicing in other beings' positive actions and the merit they've created itself creates a great deal of merit. Requesting. Fifth is the limb of requesting the Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma. This practice is associated with the Buddha in his Nirmanakaya form. That's in the form of Shakyamuni Buddha. Direct your attention to those newly enlightened Buddhas who have not yet started to teach Dharma, and beg them to turn the wheel of Dharma in order to fulfill their pledge to work for the benefit of all sentient beings. Beseeching. The sixth limb is that of appealing to the Buddhas not to enter final nirvana. Again, this is mainly directed at Buddhas in their Nirmanakaya form who have turned the wheel of Dharma and performed many enlightened deeds. Beg them not to enter final nirvana, but to remain serving sentient beings. Dedication. The seventh and final limb is that of dedication. Dedicate all the merit that you've ever accumulated, particularly that of taking the Bodhisattva vow, to the well-being of all sentient beings and to the attainment of light enlightenment for their benefit. So then His Holiness, His Holiness actually conducted the ceremony for generating bodhicitta. So we'll come back to that. Okay, so now just going to look in a little more detail at the Guru Yoga of Lama Zopa Kappa. There's quite an extensive commentary on this by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. It was published at Kopan, Ganden La Gema. That's the 1,000 deities. It's not really literally 1,000, it's lots of. The Ganden Sla Gema. Ganden is the land of joy, Tushita, in Tibetan, Ganden. Sla means deity, and Gema means hundreds, actually. But what it really means is lots of. The hundreds of deities of the land of joy, commentary by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. You'll find this online at lamayeshi.com. So this is far too extensive for us to go through here, but I recommend that you have a look at that then, because we do this prayer every time, the Ganden La Gema prayer, what do we call it? Kurukulla?
The Lama Zopa Kappa Guru Yoga.
Yeah, Lama Zopa Kappa Guru Yoga. Guru Yoga of Jesson Kappa. So Ganden La Gema in brackets. So, so the more you study this teaching, as I was saying before, the deeper your understanding of each verse, the more you get out of reciting it. Just can bring back everything you've learned in your studies of it. So, in 1976, there were probably 15 or 20 Western monks and nuns staying at Kopan in Nepal. We developed quite a nice little monastic community there. We had a separate building from the Tibetan Nepalese monks, and kind of we did our own thing down there. And but the Nepalese government changed the visa laws, try and get rid of the hippies. They said you could only get a 3-month visa, and you had to change, I think, $100 every month in the bank. And then when you wanted to renew your visa, I think they only gave it month by month for a maximum of 3 months. And you had to show a receipt from the bank where you changed this money, because otherwise, we were always changing money on the black market and getting, 20% more for it or something like that. So we kind of appealed to the Home Ministry that we were, if you were studying at the university in Kathmandu, Tribhuvan University, you could get longer visas, a visa for a year, 2 years, 3 years. And actually earlier on, when I first got there in 72, you could, if you're on a 12-month visa, you could pretty much get a 12-month visa until they changed the laws in 76. So anyway, we tried to get an exemption saying that we were studying like they were at the university, but they wouldn't accept that. So we got kicked out. We had to go to Dharamsala. And, some of us had retreats to do. So, there's a long story of what happened in Dharamsala at that time, but I'm not going to go into that right now. So one of the retreats, so I had 2 retreats I was supposed to do. One was Mahakala Retreat. Lama Yeshe had given the Western monks and nuns the IMI Sangha. IMI was International Mahayana Institute, that's what he called us, the FPMT's Organization of Monks and Nuns. He'd given us four-arm Mahakala as our sort of protector deity. So we were doing that practice every day. And there was a 2-week retreat that we were supposed to do. I still haven't done it. So heavily in debt. And also the retreat, Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga retreat, the Ganden Lagema, which was about 6 weeks. You had to recite Migme Tsewe Te Tien Tien Rezi, that 5-line verse 100,000 times. So about 6 weeks in the context of the sadhana. So we hadn't had teachings on it. And I went to see His Holiness Trijang Rinpoche, His Holiness Dalai Lama's junior tutor, to get his advice. And I thought I'd do the short retreat first, get that out of the way, and then do the other one. But when I asked him which of these 2 retreats I should do first, he looked at me as if I was like, totally lost my mind, and said, "Oh, Guru always comes first." So I did that retreat, and that's why I haven't done the Mahakala retreat yet. So then I asked, I went to see His Holiness Circle Rinpoche. I mean, I can't tell you what great days those were. We had all these, there still weren't that many Westerners interested in the Dharma, and all these great lamas, like, of course, His Holiness, but Ling Rinpoche, his senior tutor, and Trijang Rinpoche, and Sekon Rinpoche, and all these great lamas were still around, and you could just go up and see them. It was just, people in Tibet couldn't do that. You'd be very lucky if you even saw some of these lamas in your lifetime, if you lived in Tibet. So I'm totally different after 59. Bad for them, good for us, I guess. But So His Holiness Zopa Rinpoche gave me this teaching. So I know this. We had all these teachings from different lamas on lamayeshi.com, and but then we decided, for various reasons, to the teachings on lamayeshi.com should be mainly the teachings of Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, because it's the archive is called, it's the archive of the FPMT. So there are Lama Yeshe, Lama Zopa, and His Holiness, and the Buddha and some other teachings. But a lot of these other lamas' teachings, we shifted to another website that we made called teachingsfromtibet.com. So I don't know if you know about that website, but there's some amazing teachings there, including this commentary by Serkong Rinpoche on how to retreat and how to meditate on the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. So it really is it's a wonderful retreat to do, and the first long retreat that Lama Yeshe recommended we do, and which we did, was the 3-month Vajrasattva purification retreat. So we do the purification, and then actually the next retreat he gave us was the following year, 75, retreat on Manjushri yoga method. And then then different people did different things, but the next one that I did was the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. And doing this retreat creates a lot of merit. So if we look at the prayer that we do, the Guru Yoga Jesson Kappa, it actually starts, we do this from Tushitas, hundreds of gods protect us. So Serkong Rinpoche says, the first there's the invocation of Jesson Kappa, who comes from the pure land of Tushita, Ganden. So do the usual preliminary practices according to lamrim. So we do those preliminary prayers anyway. That leads up to this. Then he says, Tushita is a pure land that is made out of lapis lazuli and precious gems from the surface of the earth. I don't think it's physical, but it's visualized like that. And you visualize the trees and so forth are made of precious substances. The sand is made of gold, and when tasted is as sweet as sugar. There are many beautiful streams. So I said last week or time before that, there's often a point where we have to visualize a pure land. So, we should practice in some of our meditations, building up our visualization, what we think would be a pure land. And then we use teachings like this. And also in the Guru Puja, when we do the 7-limb offering, there's extensive prostrations. And in the Lama Chöpa, that's also a very important practice. It's we do it twice a month, as you know, at the center, and we do it online. And not so many people show up for that, which is a pity, really, because it's some of us have a commitment to do it twice a month. course, but it's really it's also an important practice. So the offering prayer, it's may divine and human offerings both actually arranged and mentally emanated. So as His Holiness said, we offer everything we have, but then we can also offer everything that we don't own, but that exists, and transform all these things into beautiful offerings. So both arranged and mentally emanated, they become the clouds of the finest Samantabhadra offerings. So Samantabhadra is the bodhisattva who was famous for his extensive offerings, and the king of prayers comes from Samantabhadra's offerings in the Flower Adornment Sutra, and they fill the entire realm of space. So you're visualizing into all of space filled with clouds of offerings. So then there's an offering cloud mantra, and the prayer of the power of truth. So these prayers are supposed to make the offerings we visualize actually real, so that they can be received by the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas in the merit field, our teachers. But then the outer offerings are mentioned in the Guru Puja. Refuge saver, perfect pure Guru, together with your retinue, I present you with clouds, again clouds, of various offerings. So then from spacious, well-arranged vessels, radiant and precious, flow gently forth 4 streams of purifying nectar water. So you can visualize in your extensive filling all of space, clouds of offerings, beautiful vessels of pure, clear water. Mentioned the other time that pure water has these 8 different qualities, which I can't remember now, but I'm sure you have notes from when I mentioned them last time. So in this Pure Land, not only are there vessels with beautiful water, but there are beautiful lakes and streams of the most sweet, clear, clean, life-giving water flowing through this vast, infinite Pure Land that we visualize. On trees, excellently spread out individually as garlands, beautiful flowers fill the earth and sky. So again, in your Pure Land, you have these incredibly beautiful trees with beautiful flowers and fruit, filling the whole place, like these incredible, beautiful forests of beautiful flowers growing on trees and on the ground everywhere, like wildflowers, huge fields of wildflowers. I did in 74, I did this retreat, Bodhisattva retreat in Laudo, up where Lama Zopa Rinpoche comes from. And it was in the summer. And every couple of weeks, there'd be this incredibly beautiful Himalayan wildflowers. And every couple of weeks, there'd be different flowers sort of covering the mountainside for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months it was like that. And I really felt this is like, a Pure Land on earth. So whatever beautiful flowers, fields growing on trees, you can visualize. Blue summer clouds of sapphire smoke. So sapphire blue clouds of smoke from fragrant incense billow in the heavens. So we're offering beautiful smell of amazing incense the incense from Laudo, there's a special bush up there that grows a little bit higher up the mountain that the Sherpas collect, and they make this incredibly beautiful smelling incense. We used to be able to get it quite easily. I don't think you can get it anymore, or not so easily, but it's, by the incense, you just crush these dry leaves and put them on coal, and it's just the most beautiful smell. And for a while they were making little incense sticks from this Laudo incense. And I don't know if you can still get it or not, but it was really by far, for me anyway, the best smelling incense. So again, we offer in our Pure Land, clouds of most beautiful incense, whatever you think smells the best. So those clouds of incense fill all the sky in your Pure Land. Joyfully dancing light from suns, moons, jewels, and flaming lamps dispel the darkness of the billion-fold world systems. So again, you can visualize huge butter lamps burning there, or then you can visualize stars, brilliant stars in the sky, and moons and suns, just incredibly beautiful sources of light with sort of rainbow light, and again, just light of any kind that you feel is the most beautiful that you want to offer. So, you have to kind of individualize this, because we all think different things are beautiful, so whatever we think is beautiful, we should offer that. Perfumes imbued with the fragrances of camphor, sandalwood, and saffron collect from everywhere into great lakes. So not only are there lakes of clear, beautiful, clear water that you just like to drink straight from the lake, but also there are other lakes with beautiful smelling liquids, the finest sort of perfume. Then nourishing food and drink of 100 flavors, delicacies of gods and humans piled high as Mount Meru. So huge piles of the most beautiful food, or you can visualize it on some kind of tables, or just on the beautiful ground, piles of the most incredible food, whatever you think is the best food, but probably vegan, I'd say. You don't want to be offering kind of roast sentient beings. In pleasing melodies from an endless variety of various instruments. So, you can visualize gods and goddesses playing special sort of transcendental instruments and making most beautiful music, or you can visualize breezes blowing through these amazing trees, and the breezes, as they flow through the trees, they make the sound of music or the sound of Dharma. So Dharma teachings are kind of wafting on the breeze. So then it finishes, goddesses of the outer and indesirable objects, holding symbols of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, pervade all directions. So you can also visualize gods and goddesses just holding up offerings of these different kind of sense objects. So those offering verses from Guru Puja can give us an idea of what we could visualize in our beautiful Pure Land. So Tushita is like that. So when we visualize Tushita, according to how we've created our own perfect Pure Land, we visualize Tushita like that. Tushita, but has some other specific features. So in this space, this is His Holiness Circle Rinpoche. In this space, just as in Dharamsala, we have the palace of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Here there's the palace of Maitreya. In front of this is a large area for giving of discourses. And just as in Dharamsala, there are the abodes of Kyabje Lung Rinpoche and Kyabje Trijang Rinpoche. Here there are houses of other gurus, such as Jesson Kappa, Atisha, and Marpa Lotsawa. Also, there are other lamas about, meditating or debating with each other. So in this Pure Land of Tushita, there's Maitreya's palace, and then there's these other houses of the great lamas, and then there's other lamas teaching and debating and so on. So, a Pure Land isn't sort of like a Dharma Club Med as such. It's a place where you go to progress on the Bodhisattva path until you become enlightened. And then you can create your own Pure Land. So there's got to be a lot of teachings going on, as well as this beautiful environment. Then from a knot of eternity, you know what that is? That squiggly thing, the endless knot. From a knot of eternity at the heart of Maitreya Buddha, a shaft of light emanates and down it. So so the verse says, from Tushita's hundreds of gods protector's heart. So the protector of the heart of the protector of hundreds of gods is Maitreya. So from his heart, well, anyway, so that there's from the knot of eternity, his heart, a shaft of life emanates, and down it, seated upon a cloud, resembling a cluster of thick, freshly made snow white curd, yogurt, big favorite in Tibet, descend Jesson Kappa and his two disciples. So it's just this very thick, billowing cloud that resembles, apparently, fresh made yogurt. So on the tip of that cloud come Lama Tsongkhapa and his two disciples, Khedabje and Gyaltsabje. They come to rest in space just before your eyes at a distance of an arm span. Seated upon thrones supported by lions on lotus, sun and moon. So, when we do the visualization of Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, we see the lions, there's a precious throne supported by 8 snow lions, 2 at each corner, and then the fully open lotus, and then the sun and moon cushion, and then seated on that is Guru Shakyamuni Buddha. So here there are 3 thrones. There's Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 disciples. So pray come to this place with your disciples. So this is the invocation. The realm from which they descend, Ganden Lagye, is the realm of the numberless gods. Lagye literally means 100 gods, but the actual meaning implied is numberless gods. So when Tibetans talk about food of 100 tastes, it's similar. It means like it's delicious food with, hundreds of delicious tastes. So the next verse is this one, requesting the Guru to have a stable life. Since you've invoked all 3 into the space in front of you, you have to offer the 7-limb prayer. So that's what we're focusing on here, the 7-limb prayer. The first of the 7 branches is usually prostration. But here, as a sign of auspiciousness, you make the request for the Guru's longevity, praying that he will not die soon. Doing this first has great meaning. So this verse usually comes fifth. So I think fifth is it. So we bring it to, because this is a Guru yoga. For auspiciousness, we bring the request for the Guru's long life. We make that first. Normally, when we do the 7 limbs practice, normally it's prostrations first, like in Guru Puja. Doing this first has great meaning. Also, requesting your Guru to live long is the best prayer for your own longevity. While you recite the words of this verse, offer a short mandala. So now this is not what we usually do, but when you're in retreat doing this practice, there's a lot of mandala offerings throughout the practice, not just in the offering verse. So when you recite the words of this verse, offer a short mandala. So again, when we're doing the retreat, normally you'd have a mandala set, you know what they are, with the base and the rings and the thing on top, and then all the stuff that goes in, precious stones and all precious things that you can find, beautiful things. You can use rice or barley grain, they often used in Tibet. And then in that they'd mix, precious stones or whatever other precious things they wanted to offer. So, you clean the base, you rub it 3 times one way, 3 times the other way. So they said when Lama Zopa Kappa went into retreat in Walka with, I think, 8 disciples, he went to do a long retreat. And that's where he did 3.5 million prostrations, I think 100,000 prostrations to each of the 35 Buddhas. And he made so many mandala offerings and he only had a piece of stone as a base, like a piece of slate or something, that he wore the skin off his forearm by doing this, purifying the base. I know how that would work, you kind of get blood all over it, but that's the story. So normally you when you do the long mandala, Om Vajrabhumi Ahum, so then you put on the first ring. Anybody not know what I'm talking about? Okay, so you have to look up, Google Tibetan mandala offering, and maybe some pictures will come up. I don't have a mandala set handy right here. So you put the first ring on the base, then you fill it up with your grains of rice grains or whatever it is that you use to mix in the holy things. So, yeah, there. Thank you, Ed. So there's Ed's mandala. He's lost the top, but there it is. Okay, so you clean the base, rub it 3 times clockwise, 3 times anti-clockwise. Then you put on that first ring, and then you fill that up as you're reciting certain parts of the long mandala offering. And then you put the second ring on, and then you fill that one up with all the various things as you're reciting other parts, the Gegma, Trengwa, Luma, Kama. And then you put the third ring on and you fill that up. And then when you get towards the end of the thing, you put on the top. So that's exactly. Thank you, my beautiful assistant. And so when you're doing the mandala, you do sort of abbreviated way. You just have the base and the first ring, and then you just fill up the first ring because otherwise it takes too long. And then you put the top on just with the first, that big ring, the bottom one. So when you recite this verse, the requesting Guru to have a long life, you offer a physical mandala with only 7 heaps on the base. So one in the middle, then in the cardinal directions, and then the intermediate directions. That's 9. So I don't know, 7. Yeah, I have to check. Mount Meru, oh, I see. So you do 7 things. So Mount Meru, the 4 continents, and the sun and the moon. So this transforms into then you visualize that transforms into a diamond throne. It's a throne with a double vajra, so you know the vajra. So double vajra symbolizes long life. Double dorji. So this mandala with the 7 heaps, Mount Meru, the 4 continents, sun and moon, it transforms into a diamond throne with a double vajra, and when you offer it, it absorbs into the throne, which Lama Tsongkhapa is seated. So you offer, when you make this prayer for long life, you offer a diamond throne with the double dorji on it, and that you visualize that absorbing into the throne, into Lama Tsongkhapa's throne. So then the next verse, which is usually the first verse, the 7 limbs, is prostration. So, we say, in our verse, we say, the previous one, we say, praise stay hundreds of eons, spread doctrine and supreme merit, feel for mind of faith. So that's when you offer this 7-heap mandala, transform into a throne, dissolve into Lama Tsongkhapa's throne. Then the next one, your wisdom mind sees full range of knowables. Your eloquent speech adorns fortunate ears. Your beauteous body, fame, glory, outstanding, homage to you, worthwhile to think of, hear, and see. So, Circle Rinpoche says, out of the Guru's holy body, speech, and mind, we usually offer praise to the Guru's holy body first. So again, there's a bit of a difference here. We always say body, speech, and mind this, body, speech, and mind that. But here, Lama Tsongkhapa is first praised for his omniscient mind, the holy mind that knows all phenomena. His omniscient mind is praised first because Lama Tsongkhapa is the emanation of Manjushri. So we say, your wisdom mind sees full range of knowables. Then we praise his holy speech. Your eloquent speech adorns fortunate ears, the ear ornament of the fortunate ones. And then his holy body, your beauteous body, fame, glory, outstanding. And then his holy body, resplendent, radiant with the glory of fame. While praying in this way, visualize that your body transforms into innumerable forms, all of which prostrate simultaneously. So you visualize, you emanate from your body infinite numbers of bodies of your own body, and you do full length, visualize yourself, all these bodies doing full length prostrations simultaneously. So if you prostrate in this way, you'll create great merit. I mean, you can get up off your seat and do actual prostrations at this point, if you're so inclined. It's your retreat, so you can, add whatever practices you want. But when you do, you visualize prostrating to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 disciples, doing full-length prostrations, and visualize all these emanations of yourself. You're leading all of them in prostration. So doing this, if you prostrate in this way, you'll create great merit. Then comes the offerings. So we recite, pleasant offerings of water, various flowers, fragrant incense, light perfume, and so on. Oceans of offerings set out and envisioned, offered up to you, supreme field of merit. So again, you can visualize this sort of offerings that we did when we were talking about the Pure Land, all these incredibly beautiful things of all different sense objects. So these are arranged on your altar and also visualized. So it's easy to do, how. Also offer a long mandala. So along with this offering verse, again, when you do in retreat, you do offer a long mandala here. But also on your altars, you have these 7 offering bowls and incense and light and water and so forth. So the 7 offering bowls represent these things, but you could also have physical flowers and physical food and physical light and so forth. Usually the incense we don't put on the altar because it gets everywhere, makes a mess. We put that on the floor in front of the altar, like in a offering sort of tray like there, that red one, see. So then confession. So we say non-virtue committed with body, speech and mind, which I've heaped up since beginning this time, especially what has contradicted 3 vows each, I confess from my heart with strong regret. So this is chantable because we chant it every time. This chantable translation was made by our very first interpreter who came with when Geshe Tsulga first came in '93, David Malk. He did a lot of these translations, worked with Geshe Tsulga to make it so that we could chant them in English. So Geshe Tsulga thought that was better that we did that because then we understand better what we're saying than if we chanted in Tibetan. So we do this for purification. All the negative actions committed in your past lives and this, especially those that contravene the 3 types of vows, pratimoksha, bodhicitta, and tantric vows, should be repented. You should repent all negative actions very strongly, feeling the regret that you would had you taken poison. Say the verse slowly, recite a long mandala, and build it up physically. So I'm sure on YouTube you can find, how to offer a mandala in Tibetan tradition. So show you, make sure you're watching someone who knows what they're doing. I believe there are a couple of people on YouTube who don't know what they're doing, but and there's also FPMT put out a booklet on how to offer a mandala. So this described in detail there. Why make all these physical mandalas? Because it helps your visualization. For example, when visualizing, now it becomes empty, it's very important to have the physical object there to visualize it's becoming empty. I think Siri was thinking I was telling her to visualize something was empty. It's very important to have the physical object there to visualize it's becoming empty. Or when you make inner offerings, you need a physical kapala, skull cup, or else you can't purify it as you have to. So, okay, anyway, that's getting a bit too detailed there. Thus, the physical mandala is to ensure proper visualization. Also, if you use grain in your physical mandala, it's more beneficial if it contains some precious substances. So when Lama Zopa Rinpoche first went to Australia, he got into trouble at customs because you're not allowed to bring, the quarantine regulations, you can't bring food in. So he had to open up his mandala and they saw all his rice grains or something. And they kind of freaked out, also, they wanted to open a statue that he was carrying. We have statues that are consecrated. They have all these things put inside, and then the base is sealed. And they really wanted Rinpoche to open that. I think he talked them out of that, but he had to get rid of all the grain that he brought from Nepal, take all the precious things out, and toss the grain. So if you're traveling internationally with your mandala set, you want to be careful, know what the quarantine regulations are for the country you're going to. Some places like Australia won't let you bring in foodstuffs. Just as worldly people live in expensive places, if we offer valuable things to the guru, it creates more merit. Anyway, we need at least some basic thing for the purposes of visualization, something on which we can visualize. Just as a rabbit's horn doesn't exist and therefore we can't say it transforms into non-existence, for similar reasons, we need a physical mandala as the basis for this practice. So again, that's why even when we don't have a mandala set, if we do a mandala, we don't do it like this, normally with, empty hands. That's like offering nothing. So, Geshe Tsorgo used to offer his bell, Dorjian bell. He used to put his bell in his hands. Or you'll see most people put their mala, like just so that you're offering, so there's something when you're doing a mandala offering. And you need to do this physically, so as Sacred Rinpoche says, so that when you're transforming it, there's something to transform, something physical to transform into emptiness or into everything in the universe, Mount Meru, the 4 continents, and everything else. So like that. When wealthy Tibetans offered mandalas of deities on the ground, they would use precious materials such as ground coral for the parts that required red-coloured material, lapis lazuli for the blue, and so forth. But of course, the type of material offered depends on one's means. When you offer chuyun, that's water for the mouth, for instance, you can offer it in any kind of container, tin, silver, gold, without its affecting the value of the water itself. But while using a more valuable container does not improve the quality of the water, it increases the amount of merit you create. Mandala is a Sanskrit word. The Tibetan is kilkor, which means literally circling the center. In a market, the best things are at the center. That's where the crowds of people go, to that market in the center of town to get the best things. So mandala means taking the essence, Yingpo Lempa. Then at the center of the market, you'll find the best store. Most people congregate around that shop to take the essence of that shop. Applying this to Tantra, the very essence is the non-dual wisdom of bliss and void. As that is what you have to take, mandala means to take that essence for yourself. Indivisible bliss and emptiness. So in Sutra, we have method and wisdom. So the method is bodhicitta and, creating merit with bodhicitta, and emptiness is realization of ultimate reality. In method and wisdom is the realization of emptiness. In Tantra, method and wisdom is the same, but the method is great bliss. So that's, what the practice of Tantra leads us to experience and realize. And that's the actual nature of the enlightened mind, indivisible bliss and emptiness. If possible, also think about the emptiness of the mandala from beginning to end. If that is not possible, think of its emptiness at least once. So, don't think this mandala we're offering is, self-existently real. Remember that it's a dependent arising. It depends on so many different things. There are different kinds of mandala, outer, inner, and secret. The outer is the usual physical one. The inner is the transformation of parts of the body, skin, blood, and so forth. And the secret is the offering of the goddesses. Then there's also the mandala of emptiness. the mandala is merely imputed and devoid of inherent self-existent. This is inherent self-existence. This is the best kind. In Lama Zopa Rinpoche's book, The Wish-Fulfilling Golden Sun, the lamrim textbook that we used to use in the early Kopan courses, he describes the inner mandala offering and describes how to transform the different parts of our bodies into parts of the mandala. Oh, look, I have it. Somewhere. Yeah, so in this book, actually, Wish Fulfilling Golden Sun, it's online, lamayoshi.com, The Wish Fulfilling Golden Sun. There's quite a long description of all the different parts of the long mandala. The four continents and the subcontinents and what's on the first level. So Ed showed us the first level, what's on the second level, what's on the base, first level, second level, third level. So as you add them, you don't just sort of throw the grain on willy-nilly, you actually add handful by handful, and each handful is a specific thing. Like the precious wheel, the precious jewel, the precious queen, the precious minister, precious elephant, precious horse, precious general, and also, east, south, west, north, south. So where you offer these different things in the mandala. Then the second level, the beauty goddess, the rosary goddess, and so forth. The top level, the sun, the moon, the precious umbrella, victory banner. And then how the wheat is placed on the plate. So actually, it's all in here. I forgot. So then there's the outer mandala and the inner mandala. Nagi Chagam Piyu. So he says, transforming our body into the mandala. Our skin is transformed into the golden foundation. So Om Vajrabhumi Ahum. So Onchen Segi Sashi. Se means gold. So on the great golden ground. So our skin is transformed into the golden foundation, the golden ground. Our flesh becomes beautiful garlands of flowers. Our hands and feet are transformed into four great worlds, and the upper and lower parts of our arms and legs become the 8 small quarters. Our stomach is transformed into Mount Meru. So if you've got a big stomach, that's easier. Our head is a beautiful palace of the king. Our eyes, the sun and the moon. Our heart is transformed into a beautiful jewel on top of the palace. And all our inner organs become beautiful possessions and enjoyments for humans, gods and demigods. So material offerings must be made to please ordinary beings, but our mind, renouncing the 3 poisons, is the best offering to the Guru Buddha. He's pleased not only for himself, but for us, as our achievement is the only way to liberation. The essential meaning of giving up is not to give up the material object, but the attachment to it. This is difficult when there's no understanding and the mind is not free. A renounced mind makes the best offering. But it's no use making offerings unless we totally offer our body, speech, and mind to the Guru Buddha. And do not think that these are ours alone, and must not be possessed by another. Such is a good method to change the mind and to become peaceful. This is the heart of the Mahayana teaching. Nothing is possessed by oneself. we belong to every sentient being. By this practice, attachment is made to lose its grip and makes no sense. So that's kind of the essence of the mandala offering. Okay, rejoicing. So we say, in time of strife, so that means like the time of the 5 degenerations, or the Kali Yuga, it's called, the period of time we're in now. Although they've been talking about the Kali Yuga for centuries, so I don't know. In time of strife, you strove to learn and practice, shunned mundane concerns, made life essence full. O protector, from depths of our hearts, we rejoice in your powerful great deeds. We rejoice in the virtue of others. You should try to rejoice at others' virtues without feeling any envy or jealousy. J. Rinpoche described 5 kinds of beings in whose virtuous actions we should rejoice: Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the followers of the Shravakayana and Pratyekabuddhayana. That's the Arhats of the Shravakayana and Pratyekabuddhayana, and ordinary people. Again, say the verse slowly, recite a long mandala, and build it up physically. So in retreat, again, you build up, you offer, with this verse, you offer a long mandala with the mandala set, building it up. With each time you add the grain, you think of different virtues and positive actions of ordinary and holy beings to rejoice at. So after rejoicing, normally would come requesting the Guru to live a long life, but in Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, we do that at the beginning. So the next one here then is requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma. So here we say, venerable gurus from love and wisdom, clouds densely massed in your Dharmakaya sky, pray loose a rain of vast profound Dharma on fields of disciples just as needed. We request the Guru to turn the wheel of Dharma, that is, to give discourses. Here, offer a 9-heap mandala. So again, you've got the base, and then you have your grain. So 1 central heap, then 4 heaps in each of the cardinal directions, and 4 in each of the intermediate directions. So this symbolizes the 1,000-spoked wheel. The central heap is the hub. The others form the 8 spokes of the Dharma Chakra. So you see the Dharma Chakra, the Tibetan wheel with the 8 spokes. You see that everywhere. And this is transformed into a 1,000-spoke wheel and offered into the hand of Lama Jesson Kappa, requesting him to turn the wheel of Dharma. So we build up this mandala, and then we transform it into Dharma 1,000-spoke wheel, even though we've just built up an 8-spoke one, transforms into 1,000-spoke, because so many different teachings. And then we offer that into the hand of, so Lama Tsongkhapa's visualized like this, eh? And so you offer this wheel of Dharma into his hand. So then the last verse that we recite in our Kurukulla, Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, may whatever virtue that I've here gathered bring benefit to all beings, and doctrine may make Venerable Lhasa Drapa's essential teaching specially shine forever. There are various types of dedication. For example, that of the body, that for dissemination of the doctrine, that for the continued meeting with spiritual teachers in all future lifetimes, and that for receiving enlightenment in this very lifetime. Various types of dedication, for example, that of the body. So we dedicate our body, dedicate for the dissemination of the doctrine, spread of the Dharma. We dedicate that we continue to meet gurus in all future lifetimes, and we dedicate to receive enlightenment in this very lifetime. In order to be able to dedicate, you must first create merit through performing virtuous actions. When you direct your thoughts to such goals without specific merit being dedicated, that is prayer. Since here you've created merit through performing the first 6 branches, you dedicate it. So, when we say, may, like at the beginning, when we generate bodhicitta, may I quickly receive enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, that's prayer. But if we have merit to dedicate, then dedication is we offer that merit to may I receive enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. So that's an interesting distinction. In the same way as you may offer money to a Lama, saying, please use this for any purpose that you like, here you offer your merit to Lama Jesson Kappa for him to use for any purpose that he wishes. As you do so, think, may this dedication benefit other sentient beings, and may all aspects of the Dharma in general, and that of Lama Tsongkhapa in particular, spread as widely as possible. So here you again offer a physical mandala. Build the whole thing up physically again, thinking that you're offering your virtues of the past, present, and future in the form of mandala. For example, your merits of listening to teachings are offered as the sun. Your merits of contemplation and learning are offered as the moon. Then make the request, please accept these merits for the dissemination of the doctrine. You don't have to say the words of the mandala prayer. Just visualize that the physical mandala is made up of your past, present, and future virtues. For example, if you have a piece of gold, you can make it into many different things, such as offering bowls or other religious items, and offer them to your Lama, asking him to please accept them in order to spread the Dharma. In this way, then, you offer your merits to Lama Jesson Kappa for the dissemination of his doctrine throughout the 10 directions. So this is a very elaborate 7-limb puja. Each branch has 4 lines, whereas usually there's just one. So there's the 7-limb prayer we often used to do as preliminary prayers, and we still do, like when you're taking precepts. I forget how it starts. I guess it's in here. I prostrate with body, speech, and mind in faith. Each and every offering, including those really performed and those mentally transformed, I offer. Every non-virtue collected from beginninglessness of samsaric life is confessed. I rejoice in all ordinary beings and noble beings' actions. Please, Buddha, by living as our guide until samsara ends, reveal the teachings to sentient beings. I dedicate my own virtue and those of others to the great enlightenment. So that's just the one line for each of the 7 limbs. So then the way we do it here is there are 4 lines, but then we have all this other stuff with the mandala offerings and that. Each branch has 4 lines, whereas usually there's just one. There's no better practice for purification and the accumulation of a great store of merit than the 7-limb puja, 7-limb offering. And there's no substitute for this practice. Great bodhisattvas on all 10 levels do this practice. and even they know nothing better than the seven. And even they know there's nothing better than the seven limb puja for purification and the accumulation of merit. And so, in the Avatamsaka Sutra, there's, I think we talked about that last week or the week before. There's the we read it, the Samantabhadra's seven limb offering. So those are the bodhisattvas practicing that. So that's what Zopa Rinpoche says. So that's just the preamble to this teaching. Then there's this whole, the main part of the teaching that I received then was, how to setting up to, so how to clean your room according to Jorcha. So that's explained in detail in, it'll be more in Lama Zopa Rinpoche's book, but in Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand, these 6 preparatory practices are explained in great detail. So those are very important to know, especially if we're doing retreat, but also in daily life. Then how to arrange the altar, and then sitting on the seat in the Vairocana position, 7 limb position, 7 aspects of Vairocana position, and correcting your motivation. So then he gave a teaching on refuge and visualizing the merit field, purification, accumulation of merit. So that's the 7 limb practice. And making request with the 3 most important things. Sorry. I get overexcited. Okay, so then he gives all these different details about doing practice, and then how to recite the Miksema. And then there's sorry. So later on, after that summer, when we were all banished to India, then we came back to Nepal for the Kopan course at the end of '76, and Rinpoche wanted to know what Lama Zopa Rinpoche wanted to know what Zopa Rinpoche had said. So I told her that. So then Rinpoche made a lot of further explanations or a few clarifications and further explanations. So you can find that teachingsfromtibet.com, this commentary on the Lam Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga by Zopa Rinpoche. And there's also another one there by another detailed commentary by Geshe Rabten. So he was another of the great Tibetan Lamas, and along with Zopa Rinpoche, who was one of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's debate partners. So the Dalai Lamas have these tenshabs, these, I think it used to be 7 in Tibet, these different scholars who would debate with the Dalai Lama on different topics that they were particularly expert in. So to help him become expert in all these different topics. So I think I only heard of 2 debate partners. There's Serkong Rinpoche, who we just went through his commentary there, and Geshe Rabten. So Geshe Rabten was another great Lamas who came out of Tibet. He was one of the main teachers of Lama Yeshe, Lama Zopa Rinpoche. He went in the mid-70s, he went to Switzerland and established a center there. He spent the rest of 10 years, the rest of his life in Switzerland. anyway, another great Lama, also expert in meditation, concentration. So his commentary on the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga is also there at teachingsfromtibet.com. So I think it's probably enough on that. So we'll finish there. Okay, so thanks again. And Bob, you want to do the dedication prayers?
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Saji perki juxing ne tok tram re rapin jini degen pati sange jing du mikte uwagi drokun lambda jing lacher parshuk Jesson lame kutse rapten ching nam katrin ne chok churgi padang lo sang ten pedrin me sasungi drome munsel tak tu ne gyurchi idam guru ratna mandalakam niryatayami. From my two collections, vast space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds nourished for a long time. By even this graded course to enlightenment completed due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. Savior of the Snowland teachings and transmigratory beings who extensively clarifies the path that unifies emptiness and compassion, to the lotus in the hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be fulfilled. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Mahayana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious Supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Migmate se we ter chen chen rezik, Dreamaken Pei Wang Po Jam Pilyan Gang Chen Ke Pe Su Gen Song Kappa Lo Sang Drak Pe Jabla Sola De. Thank you, Nick.
Okay, thanks everybody, and hope to see you next week.
Adios.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Nick.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nick. Bye.
Bye.